All right, here we are again. So, hope all of you are doing well tonight. I hope that you guys have been keeping yourselves cool uh, during all this heat that has been going on as of late. I know that the heat can be somewhat grueling. So let me just remove that. I had a super chat goal up there, but I'm not that worried about it because right now the super chat thing, I'm not worried about that. So, but anyway, we got a lot to talk about, and what I mean by that is I've been hearing so much about this ad-supported tier that they want to add the Game Pass now. Now I know right now it's going to be in the testing phase, okay? And I can understand that. You know, it's fine right now because it's in the testing phase. They're just going to test this, and they're going to see, if it's going to become a thing, if it's going to, work and all that to be implemented. Personally, I don't have to worry about it because I paid a monthly Game Pass fee anyway. I have Game Pass and all that, so I don't have to worry about it. But I am concerned about it just in general for anyone else that has to end up dealing with it because in a way, why should other people have to deal with it when how many times a day do we deal with ads? Whether it is like ads flooding on YouTube or major ads everywhere else, like you see all these crazy ads everywhere. You get these ads that happen on TV when you're watching your TV shows, or an ad supported tier on Netflix and on the other streaming apps that you have, whether it's those streaming apps that you have where you're watching stuff for free, and guess what? It goes and cuts to an ad for a couple of minutes. And sometimes it could be the worst ad, period. Like it could be the most ridiculous advertisement for something dumb. It doesn't have to be an interesting ad. It could just be an ad for something entirely dumb that doesn't make sense. You know, I don't believe in too many ads flooding an experience because, it ruins experiences. Now, I can understand from some people that would not like the ad idea because, they don't want it ruining their experience, especially for gamers that love the cinematic cutscenes, love the cinematics within their stuff. That if they go to a cutscene and they're having a good time and then their cutscene gets interrupted. Now, I know they're saying that this is not going to interrupt the gaming experience, okay? But when you read between the lines, you think about this corporate type of lingo they talk with. Think about it. Eventually, it'll come to where it'll interfere with our gaming experience. Because it'll happen, folks. Truthfully, eventually it'll get there to where it'll bug the experience we all enjoy. Now, I can get behind if they do like the major games. Like if you're adding major games like day one releases and stuff like that, like the awesome games you're releasing those day one, the cool games and stuff that are like AAA games, if you're putting those on Game Pass day one, it doesn't really bother me whether they do or they don't, because truthfully, I don't have to get my hands on every single game. I have a backlog that I am trying to clear. Like, I sat down with my boy today and I said to him, I'm like, you know what, Danny? I'm like, I can, well, you know, I told my boy today, basically, well, actually, no. We were at the dentist today. And I said to him, I'm like, I got so many games, kid, that I can play my games and clear my backlog and don't even have to buy no more. Like, I'd rather sit there and focus on my library of games that I have instead of worrying about day one releases, instead of worrying about what's next that they're going to release. I would have loved to have Grand Theft Auto 6 as part of my library, but there's also controversy a little bit over the whole Grand Theft Auto 6 thing. I know that that's going around because everyone has an opinion on it, and I can understand a little bit of a way, and because of digital. Here's my look when it all comes to digital. Okay? Here's my biggest concerns. One, if you're going to go digital, make sure that everything is secure. Don't get people's hopes up and say that you want to bring digital games and then you are not going to provide security at all for those digital games. Because the thing of it is, you got to read between the lines of all this corporate speak. Because that's how they're going to catch you. They know they can confuse people when they talk in certain ways that not everyone's going to know. They know how to fool people that are not people that have ever worked in the corporate setting before and all that. So, and if they think that this digital age is going to be an even better move, it will also come with its pros and its cons. The con is security. You would have to consider your security, keeping it safe. The pro would not be for the player. The pro on one side of it is if they decide they want to pull the rug out from under you, well, guess what? Your game is digital. I'm just going to yank the rug out from under you. Ha ha. That's exactly what they'll do. Why? Because they have the control. The game is digital. You don't really have that ownership with it digital. Yeah, you're renting, you're borrowing. The thing of it is, they could take the game from me. If I finish that game and they take it from me, alright, fine. Game's finished, you can have it. I've had my time with it. This is not like I'm going to sit around and be a giant crybaby if you take a game or two and I've already aced it or played it or beat it, go ahead and take it then. Because Most likely it's a game you're going to take that I've already played. Most likely you're yanking a title or a game that I've already put time into. Most likely you're taking a title that I've already sat there and put like quite a few days into it. So you're really not hurting me much when you do that. But there's a lot of things that have to be considered when going digital. There can also be issues and problems even with digital. Yeah, there's a lot of things that can happen. And hackers will be a problem no matter what you do. Whether you are digital, or if it were to remain physical. Because truthfully, when you think about it, it doesn't change the real fact of, it doesn't change the fact of systems not getting messed with. Yeah, because things can still get messed with. Even if you go with this whole digital, which they have already made up their minds and they're not backing down. So their mind has been made up to where, it's digital age and it's staying that way. So they've already staked it that they're not going to back down from it. So that ain't changing for them. So another thing too, and this was pretty interesting. I was in my kitchen today, and this was before I took my son to the orthodontics, and I seen about the actor Michael Hollick. Now, you guys would know Michael Hollick for his famous role as Niko Bellic in Grand Theft Auto 4. He spoke out today. He was interviewed. He spoke out today and spoke out and said that he would like to see Rockstar North remaster GTA 4. Now, this came straight from the mouth of Michael Hollick. Now, this has been going around the internet. The guy that also played the voice for Roman Bellic has also been wanting to see this happen. Because the one that played Roman Bellic was interviewed and said that he feels as though the game deserves a remaster. Now, I agree that GTA 4 does deserve a remaster because the story itself for that game is a time-honored story. And I've loved the story from the beginning to the end, and I could never stop playing that story. There was a point in time where I would just play the game over and over again because the story just would grab a hold of you. Yeah, and just the way that Michael Hollick did that role, along with the guy who played his cousin, Roman, it was just something. And then the bad guys he met along the way, it was just something about the game itself, the story itself, grabbing a hold of you. And you couldn't help yourself but to continue to sit there and keep playing just to see how the story was going to go. So that's what made me continue to just keep going at it. But to hear today that Michael Hollick also wants to see it get a remaster. Now I know he wasn't on good terms with Rockstar North, and the reason why he wasn't was because when he did the voice work for Niko Bellic, at that time, he did not get paid what he should have been paid. He was unfairly paid. And that was the whole beef. Because he was not paid what he should have been paid, that's why he was on bad terms when he walked away from the project of playing Niko Bellic. But even after all these years, the way I look at this is, even though things, go rough and you have these issues as a voice actor, and you have these things that go wrong in the company, I would think after all these years that the least you could do for the sake of a game like Grand Theft Auto 4, and for the sake of a story that was told in GTA 4, that I think that burying the hatchet and at least allowing a game like Grand Theft Auto 4 to get its remaster to be brought to the current consoles, I think would be awesome. Because then this generation would get the opportunity to experience a story that all of us, or at least a portion of us, knew, and then this newer generation may get a chance to experience what we have. Because a lot of the older games like that, like GTA 4 and Liberty City, those stories like that, those are what I grew up with through my teenage years, through my years of gaming in that time period. And that is, just some of the time-honored games that really got me through a lot of the years of gaming and the time that I spent. So I really hope that Rockstar North ends up taking it into consideration, because I think it would be a good move. On their part, I really think it would be a good move for them to at least do that, for this generation's sake. And that way, a awesome story can be brought to a whole new gaming generation. So that's just my thoughts on that whole thing. That's just my thoughts right there of how I feel about it. So I'm hoping for something good to come from that. So that's another thing I wanted to cover. Trying to think, because I know there was a couple of things that I wanted to talk about. I know that was one of them. Let's see, what else did I want to cover? Trying to think. Oh, and then Spider-Man 3 is finally going to have a release year of 2029. So they did settle for 2029 as the release year for Spider-Man 3. So that's a definite for Spider-Man 3 for 2029. So yeah, that is a confirmed release year is set for that. And it'll be One Last Swing is what they're calling it. The title of the game, and it'll be for PS5. It'll be called One Last Swing is what they're calling this one. So it looks like it's cool. The cover art on the case, like the cover art of it, and looks really cool. No doubt it's going to be digital, especially with it coming out in 2029. Straight up, we know that stuff's going to be digital, folks. Because with it coming out in 2029, a year after PlayStation is been pushing the digital age and everything, yeah, straight up digital. That's just how crazy this whole digital thing is. So there ain't gonna be no changing of the mind there with that. So, but I know there was a lot that was going on. Definitely back to this ad tier thing. I know that they want to do this as a test, and they want to do this to try to get other people into the ecosystem. But when you figure how many things have ads already, and ads can be so irritating sometimes. Because especially when you want to just enjoy things and not have ads where it interrupts you from almost everything. That's the irritating part. Because nobody wants to spend all this time watching ads or spend a portion of time watching ads that would interrupt a gaming experience. Yeah, it might not interrupt the gaming experience, at first, but what makes you think it wouldn't? Now I will be doing some Battlefield 6 again, another video of it. But today, since I was very busy today and had to take my son to the dentist and all that, that's why I didn't get anything out. Hold on. I also wanted to get something up in the chat, so give me a second here. I also started my own merchandise shop that I am trying to work on getting sales for it, so I just wanted to what's their call? Just bear with me here as I get this posted up. I ended up putting some women's leggings in there, and then I also put up a poster in my shop. That's my link there. You can check me out through Streamlabs. That is for my merchandise there. So you can check out my cool merchandise if you want to have merchandise to show off. That merchandise that gets purchased helps to support the channel. That's what I do it for, so if you want to check that out, feel free. But yeah, this whole ad-free thing, or this ad idea, I don't know. I mean, it might be okay for some and all that, but I don't think it's going to be okay for everyone. You know, I think there's going to be some people that are just going to straight up complain about it because, they'll just get irritated for the fact of, because they don't want to see ads. Like, who wants to see ads when you see how many ads on TV every day? How many ads do you figure you see on TV every day? Like, think about it. Think about the amount of ads you see every TV commercial. Every ad that you see every time you try to watch a show. Whether it is ads on Netflix, ads on your cable, just ads with apps that you use on the daily. It's insane. So who wants ads within gaming? Like, who would want that? And I get that they're trying to do it too because of the fact of people not being able to afford this new console. But some people are just choosing not to want to buy it. They're just choosing the option to not invest. That's what you need to understand. People are just choosing not to buy it. There's a difference there. It's not because they can't afford it. Now, some people might not be able to afford it, but the people that can afford it, some people just choose not to buy it. And there's nothing wrong there if someone chooses not to buy it. It's a personal choice. We all have freedom and personal choice, and if we make a choice to not buy something, that's just a personal choice. Customer's choice. That's why I say customer's choice. That's like every day when we're at the supermarket or we're at the store or anywhere we're at and we see products on the shelf. We can look at those products, but we can decide, are we going to buy this today? Are we going to buy that today? Should I buy this box of donuts if I'm hungry for them? Or do I really need to? What's more important, putting gas in my car so I can get back and forth to work? Instead of buying a box of donuts or something I don't need? That's what you have to think about. Every day you're thinking about the more important essentials instead of thinking about the things that are not important. But the thing of it is, it's called consumerism. Marketing, okay? They're going to throw what they can at us because that's what they're going to do. They're going to bombard us. They're going to push at us because they want to do whatever they can to try to get us to go and invest in this console so that way you don't have to get annoyed by ads. They'll force you into buying it. They'll bully you into buying it. And then they're like, oh, well, if you don't buy it, then you'll have to deal with the ad-supported tier if you don't have Game Pass. So it's either buy Game Pass or deal with an ad-supported tier. Is pretty much what they're doing to you. And that is basically right there just bullying you because, they're giving you, they're not really giving you much of a choice because they're not giving you much of an option. It's either choose the ad-supported tier or go and pay for Game Pass for a certain price. So that way you don't have to end up worrying about the ads and don't have to worry about having the ads in a shovel thrown right at you. Hey, that's what they're doing because that's what they want to do. They really don't care at this point. Because what they're going to try to do, and that's what they're going to do, is their thing is they're going to get told by Amy Hood and Satya Nadella and Amy Hood, okay, they're going to go straight to Asha Sharma and Matt Booty and whoever else that works, in the higher up position, but mainly Satya Nadella and Amy Hood system comes